Now, I do know guys that run oral Turinabol up to 50 milligrams daily for weeks on end, longer than 6 weeks for sure, and they know how to manage their blood work parameters. They love Turinabol. They love the endurance boost that they get out of that. They absolutely swear by oral Turinabol because it was designed for athletes after all, but they do their blood work. Oral Turinabol might still require you to put blood pressure management in place. And this is very interesting because we know that aromatase inhibition lowers estradiol levels, which indirectly modulates the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system and helps to regulate blood pressure that way. But does this mean that aldosterone synthase inhibition by chlorodihydromethyltestosterone, drostanolone, methanolone, or perhaps other anabolic androgenic steroids are direct, albeit mild, renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system modulators as well? Right? A lot of scientific evidence still needs to be performed in this context. This scientific publication is reasonably new. Again, all citations are down below in case you want to read it yourself. But I think I'm starting to see some more overlap between these particular compounds. But besides these beneficial effects for blood pressure, there are also 2 animal models which show a negative effect on heart health. Chlorodihydromethyltestosterone might impair cardiac microvascular adaptation to exercise. The compound increases cardiac myocytes, so it's the cells of the heart muscle, and it reduces myocardial oxygen supply during exercise. And it also worsens myocardial function, again, animal models, left ventricular hypertrophy, and systemic oxidative stress. So there might be a net negative outcome regarding your heart health. Many of the other anabolic androgenic steroids have not been investigated in this context. We do know that anabolic androgenic steroids in general can cause left ventricular hypertrophy, but also issues regarding oxidative stress. That's well documented in the scientific literature. But if it also impairs microvascular adaptation during exercise, reducing oxygen supply to the heart, you would expect impaired endurance, impaired stamina, impaired performance, which isn't what we see in real-world practical application of oral Turinabol. Again, it won many world records and many gold medals, and most of the users of Turinabol report that endurance, stamina, and performance increases. So how much of these 2 studies do we need to take to heart or with a grain of salt? I'll leave it up to your judgment. Citations down below. I couldn't find any clinical trials performed on oral Turinabol, nothing on liver tox, no high-dose studies, no HPTA studies, no exercise studies, besides the GDR state doping plan documents, no safety and efficacy studies. I'm just going to throw this out there. At this point, ostarine, a selective androgen receptor modulator, has more human studies, more clinical trials behind it for us to analyze the safety and efficacy data and make an informed decision with. But ostarine didn't win any gold medals, or did it? With oral Turinabol, basically all we have is a good amount of anecdotal experiences from the enhanced fitness community. People either love or dislike Turinabol. Some people say that it's a Dianabol without the side effects, no bloat, no gynecomastia, no lower back pumps, or it's a budget version, a cheaper version of oxandrolone that you can easily run at double the dosage of the effective dose of oxandrolone to get similar effects. It might still be a little bit more expensive, but hey, if you can't find legitimate oxandrolone, then Turinabol might be a close second option. And some people also report that Turinabol increases their endurance similarly to how boldenone increases endurance. So basically, Turinabol is always compared to or second best to other steroids. Users of oral Turinabol report similar changes on blood work parameters at effective dosages for anabolism and performance compared to other oral steroids. So you can expect your lipids to skew, SHBG to drop, liver enzymes, creatinine, creatine phosphokinase or lactose dehydrogenase or other training-related markers to increase, all of which can be mitigated with ancillaries or over-the-counter supplements, assuming you keep the dosages moderate. So let's proceed into the evidence-based detection times, shall we? The half-life of chlorodihydromethyltestosterone following intravenous administrations is 16 hours. I couldn't find the half-life of oral administrations anywhere, so we're going to go with the IV administration half-life going forward. After 5 milligrams chlorodihydromethyltestosterone administered orally, the detection time is up to 45 days. But other studies show that 40 milligrams chlorodihydromethyltestosterone testosterone administered orally was detectable for 22 days with an estimated detection time between 40 to 50 days. There's a transdermal administration of 10 milligrams chlorothiodromethyltestosterone being detectable for 14 days. And after 500 milligrams was administered orally to horses, it was detectable for only 3 days. And based on other urinary metabolite excretion studies performed on horses, it seems that horses metabolize these kinds of drugs significantly faster compared to humans. So if the detection time is 45 days following a single administration of only 5 milligrams chlorothiodromethyltestosterone, then we should stick with the reported detection time of 12 months. Yes, 12 months. This is almost as long as nandrolone decanoate of 18 months. So if you're subject to drug testing in and out of competition, I would recommend you to not use oral Turinabol and stick with oxandrolone, which again is far superior with a far lower detection time of approximately 21 days instead. And it finally brings us to the dosing protocols. For chlorothiodromethyltestosterone, I would recommend as a sustainable and tolerable dose anywhere between 10 milligrams to 30 milligrams daily, either split morning and evening on rest days or taking the full dose pre-workout, preferably sublingually, until blood work parameters become unmanageable. That could be 6 weeks, it could be 8 weeks, could be 12 weeks, could be longer. Again, there's no real safety data on chlorothiodromethyltestosterone besides that single study, which is, already decades old. So you're going to have to go with your blood work. And regarding the deleterious dose, I would say anywhere between 30 milligrams up to 100 milligrams daily. Again, some guys prefer to run oral Turinabol at 100 milligrams daily, either the full dose pre-workout or split AM and PM on rest days until blood work parameters become unmanageable for a maximum of 6 weeks continuously. Now, I do know guys that run oral Turinabol up to 50 milligrams daily for weeks on end, longer than 6 weeks for sure, and they know how to manage their blood work parameters. They love Turinabol. They love the endurance boost that they get out of that. They absolutely swear by oral Turinabol because it was designed for athletes after all, but they do their blood work. That is key, right? They deploy the ancillaries and the over-the-counter supplements. So if you want to increase the dose into the deleterious dose ranges, blood work, ancillaries, over-the-counter supplements to keep yourself healthy, please. And for women, before we get into the sustainable and tolerable dose, please do yourself a favor. First, read that state plan doping documents publication, which I highlighted at the start of this video, before you consider running 2.5 milligrams to 5 milligrams oral Turinabol daily, because libido changes, especially heightened libido, even at low dosages of 5 milligrams or 10 milligrams daily, is already reported. And menstrual irregularities and other virilizing side effects are also reported at lower dosages. So please read that study first. I still think that oxandrolone is superior, but if you only have access to oral Turinabol, then, start low and build your way up as needed, right? Either the full dose pre-workout or split AM and PM on rest days until blood work parameters become unmanageable. But at these low dosages, you probably see minimal effects on blood work parameters. And I would say for women, the deleterious dose is over 5 milligrams daily. So that's between 5 milligrams to 20 milligrams daily. Same dosing protocols for a maximum of 6 weeks, preferably shorter. But again, if you're going to do competitions, especially performance or endurance competitions, then maybe a longer period of time is warranted. Again, it has been designed for athletes, and there's a good amount of scientific literature that you can review in that state plan documents publication. Until blood work parameters become unmanageable, obviously. But honestly, for women, I still prefer oxandrolone because there's a lot more safety data to make decisions with, especially around virilization and other side effects you should pay attention to if you're a woman. And otherwise, you can convince yourself by reading the citations down below, the state plan doping documents publication. I'm sure you'll come to the same conclusions. Okay, let's leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find everything that I'm associated with down below in the YouTube description section, as well as the citations. They're all in the comments section, right? Do additional research if you're interested. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at VigorSteve. Vigorous crew, you guys know what to do.